Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today's video is going to be a fun one. I competed in the AK Masters for 2024 and had an absolute freaking blast. Met a lot of new people, a lot of big names out there in the AK world, and just had an absolute blast in general, running and gunning with the boys and just throwing lead down range. So this match, if you're not familiar, is an AK specific match. This one specifically was comprised of 10 stages. And again, just a wide range of shooting types. You know, you had your close quarter stuff, you had your more long range stuff, and overall just a very well thought out and well executed match. And I'm just really, really happy that I was able to compete in it. So I'll get into a lot of the details on the back end as far as what my kit was, how I did, what my thoughts are. But before we get into the shooting, I do want to say out of about over 200 shooters, I placed 32nd overall, and statistically speaking, that's my best performance to date. So I'm just really pleased. I executed very well. I'm very happy with my personal performance, and as far as gear and my gun goes, I'm very, very, very happy. Again, we'll get into that, into the nitty-gritty details on the back end of this, but let's get into the stages. So like I said, there's 10 stages. We'll go stage one by one, and you'll see how I performed. And I'll make any comments if I deem necessary, and I'll cut you on the back end.
Stand by. Stand by. Bye.
Company sounds like Seiko.
All right, so for this stage was extremely fun for a number of reasons. One, because I've got to slide through a tunnel. I just yeeted myself head first, kind of like a dolphin dive, Call of Duty style. But also because I got to meet Clay Owens. If you're not familiar, he is the owner and producer of a lot of AK content with the Clayco 47 channel. Now, being an AK guy myself, I've obviously watched his videos for a long time and been a big fan of his. And so it's pretty cool to meet him. And he actually recorded my run through this. So it's just really cool to meet him. Very cool guy. I also got to meet H-Town Werewolf, who was also with him. Also a very cool guy. And we just had a lot of fun chit-chatting and bantering back and forth. But yeah, that was pretty fun. So I wanted to specifically call that out here.
DM, bro. I just lost it. Yep.
Stand by. Stand by.
My dice dying.
Alright, shooter indicates ready. Stand by.
Stand by. I would just take it off, but it won't
All right, so this was the last stage of the match for me. The range officer here is Devin. Devin is a good friend of mine. We've known each other for a while. He's always competing in the same stuff I am, and it seems like every time he competes, he always wins. And guess what? No surprise here, he won the AK Masters. Outstanding, just outstanding shooter. He's second to none. I mean, he won. There's a reason he won. He's just a daggum good shooter. Devin, always great to see you. But yeah, this is the last stage. I wanted to call out Devin. He won the entire thing. So go check him out and show him some love and support.
Stand by.
All right, so you got to watch all the stage footage. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with how it performed. I executed fairly well, and yeah, let's get into the loadout and kind of what my thoughts are. First things first, I ran the Palmetto State Armory Krink. This is a gun that is loved and hated by many, and what better way to test out a gun and its reliability than to run it through an AK match, and that's what we did today. So I've had this thing for a while. I've gotten several hundred rounds through it leading up to the match, and then I had no issues cresting that 1,000 round benchmark going through the match. So I've got some pretty good trigger time behind it. I can now give a better example of what my thoughts are on this. So as you'll see, this is not the stock configuration that I had it in my last video, which if you haven't seen, check that out. But what we've got here is the PSA Krink, and I've got the Sure Shot Armament Group USA Mark III Krink chassis on here, and what an upgrade that was over the stock furniture it came with. So if you remember anything, you'll remember that I said that the stock furniture was just getting insanely hot. And so when I put this on, that was obviously going to be one of my big concerns going forward. And I mean, executed just fine. I mean, it wasn't too hot. I mean, I obviously wore a glove during the match, but it never got too hot to where I couldn't hold. And I didn't have any issues burning myself on the front sight block here or on the, you know, the back action here. With that said, I also ran the Novus Precision MDS3, a phenomenal optic that performed exceptionally well. As you saw, there were a lot of close-up targets, which this handled just fine, but there were also some distance targets out to 200 yards where a lot of people expected this gun and this setup to fall short. The Novus Precision MDS3 had absolutely no issues. I had a very crisp dot, and prior to going to this match, I went to the range, got my holdover, so I knew exactly what to do out to distance and especially to 200 yards. But a lot of people on the internet and even a lot of people in person doubted the capabilities of this. I mean, it's a 5.56 gun coming out of an 8-inch, it's got an 8-inch barrel. So you can kind of expect that its performance is going to be a little lacking out to distance. That was not the case here. Like I said, I placed 32nd out of over 200 shooters, and that was with a 5.56 8-inch gun. I had no issues reaching out, getting those shots at 200 yards. So I'm extremely happy with this. I also was running the PSA slick side magazines. There's been a lot of questions about those. I didn't have any issues with this performance as well. I didn't have any hiccups, no failures to feed, no failures to fire, failures to eject, anything like that of the sort. And I also ran the AC Unity 30 round magazines as well. But overall, the PSA Krink, it put out and it performs. I am beyond happy. I've got it over 1,000 rounds now, no issues. I'm loving how it's performing. The Sure Shot Armament Group USA chassis is second to none. I highly recommend putting that on there if you do pick one of these up. And of course, the Novus Precision MDS3. I mean, it did exactly what I needed to. I didn't need a magnifier or anything. This whole setup, this whole configuration, it put out and it performed. Next, let's get into some of the gear that I use and how it performed as well. All right, so as you can expect, I ran the same exact belt setup that I always do. I've got my pistol magazines, which did not get utilized this competition, but they say on there. I've got my rifle magazines, did just fine. I held 2 extra magazines in addition to the one in my gun. I didn't have any issues with running out of ammo. I've got my belt line medical kit, and then my pistol holster on the right, which again didn't get used. And then I held my gloves out front. When I wasn't shooting, I took my gloves off and I clipped them onto this carabiner. This whole setup I've used in every single competition I've ran to date, and I don't see that changing anytime in the future. It works, it's inexpensive, and like I said, it works. I can't ask you to do anything more. So yeah, let's get into the helmet. All right, so lastly, we've got our helmet here, and traditionally you won't see many people running helmets, but there's a couple reasons for that. One, I mount my GoPro to the MVG mount up front. I record everything through a GoPro in addition to a third-party individual running my camera. So that's obviously very important to be able to mount that here. Secondly, I've got my hearing protection that is helmet mounted. Now I could go a different route, but because I'm already wearing the helmet for the GoPro, it makes sense to use my helmet mounted hearing protection here. So this is the Earmore M33s. I mean, just great setup. I've been using these for a couple competitions now and just shooting in general. So I can't complain. They've got built-in Bluetooth functionality. They've got your push-to-talk connectors, your buttons to manipulate microphone, everything that you need. It does just fine, and they work very well. And the helmet itself, the base for all of this is the Ballistic Armor Co. helmet. I bought this from them. I've used this in some MVG matches and just some general shooting competitions. And again, I'm just insanely happy. It's extremely comfortable, and that is due mostly in part to the gel-like padding in here that keeps my head cool and is extremely comfortable. So again, I can't complain. Nice setup. I've got this set up exactly for what I needed. And in this case, it performed and executed just fine. All right, let's bring it to a close. So I performed well. Personally, this is my best performance to date. Again, 32nd out of over 200 shooters. I cannot complain. My PSA Krink with the Sure Shot USA chassis, phenomenal platform. I've got my Novus Precision MDS3. It did exactly what I needed. That whole setup is perfect and allowed me to compete with some of the best out there, and that included shooting out to distance. My belt line setup and my helmet setup, I mean, just again, everything I needed. Nothing got too in the way or impeded me from shooting and doing what I needed to do, so I can't complain there. Overall, I'm extremely happy with my performance. You know, if I could go back and change some things, obviously there's learning points that are experienced through competitions like this, but I'm proud of how I performed, and I'm gonna take notes from this and take just some data points from how I performed and take that going forward to the next competition. But the last thing is, if you've never done this before, if you've never done a competition before, or it may be a little intimidating, I really urge you to get out there, shoot, and compete. You don't have to be a great shooter. You just have to be a safe shooter. You get out there, you're ultimately, in theory, going to get better as these matches progress. And as long as you're doing everything safe and in the way that it's meant to be so that no one else is harmed, you're just going to have fun. You're going to be out there with a bunch of good dudes, and you're just going to get better, and you carry that on with you going forward. That said, I enjoyed meeting a lot of you. Javier, specifically, thank you so much for filming me, as I didn't exactly have anything in place except for my GoPro. So thank you for doing that. I really appreciate you. Clay, it was great to meet you. I'm a big fan. And Devin, congratulations on winning the entire thing. You deserve it. You've earned it. You're a damn good shooter. But overall, get out there, train, be safe, and just strive to be better and put these God-given rights to use. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.